Hey people, it is Friday, January the 7th, and the time is 4:30 in the afternoon, and the temperature is minus 7 degrees Celsius, with a very chilly wind chill. And I'm here at the corner of George Street and Richmond Street East. And for this walk, I'll be heading west along Richmond Street through downtown, and I'm thinking as far west as Bathurst Street. So that will give us a good look at the most interesting parts of Richmond Street as it runs from the east side of downtown to the west side of downtown. Richmond is a one-way street, and it's got bike lanes along most of its length. It's basically the westbound counterpart to Adelaide Street, which runs eastbound just to the south of here, and is also one way and also has bike lanes. I'd probably say that Adelaide is a bit more interesting than Richmond from a pedestrian point of view, but I haven't done a walk along Richmond from east to west in quite a while. Whereas I think I've been on Adelaide Street a few times in recent videos. Just crossing Jarvis Street. And we're just on the eastern edges of the financial district. I apologize if you can hear some crinkling sounds. I am carrying a plastic bag, as I am known to do. And the wind is kind of blowing it around a little bit as I walk. Try to mitigate that as much as I can here. Normally I would just hold the bag down at arm's length and sort of counteract the wind with my arm, but it's so cold I have to stick my hand in my pocket. The hand that's holding the bag is in my pocket, so therefore the bag just sort of dangles around off my wrist and bounces off my legs as I walk. It's kind of unavoidable. It's another drawback to cold weather when you're trying to do walking videos while carrying things. But maybe all this traffic noise will drown out the sounds of the bag. And here's Church Street. I guess I'll wait. I could have ran across there, but I'm not really in the mood to run. Sometimes it's just too cold to run, you know what I mean? And we are coming into rush hour. I mean, what would traditionally be the rush hour in the financial district. 4:30 is the time when all the office workers would be pouring out of their offices and heading down to Union Station in droves to catch their GO trains. But I don't expect to see too much of that. Rush hour is not really rush hour once again. It was getting back to normal. and people were returning to the office, although not fully by any means, but at least in somewhat larger numbers than had been there for the previous year before. But now with this latest scare, everyone is urged to work from home once again. So things have suddenly quieted down once again after they're starting to seem busy, somewhat busy again in the financial district. And we're coming up on Victoria Street. And I noticed the days are starting to get a little longer once again. We're just passing by the historic Confederation Life building here on the right. It's one of the more magnificent old buildings fronting directly onto Yonge Street, which is the next street up ahead. Once I cross Yonge Street, I'll turn around and we'll get a good look at it. And here we are at Yonge. And that's strange, I suddenly smell skunk. I'm not sure why that smell would be suddenly appearing here in the middle of winter in the heart of downtown. And there's a look at the Confederation Life building. Now we're walking past the historic old Hudson's Bay Company store. It's now home to a Saks Fifth Avenue as well as the flagship Hudson's Bay store. There's the entrance to Saks. It's nice to see that entrance is open again. It was closed for the longest time. And I always thought this was a waste of street frontage here. At least they have ads or things to look at as opposed to just blank walls. But in any case, This would be so much more interesting if there was windows looking inside, or even displays with mannequins and such things, but I guess we'll have to make do with these large billboards. And that's an entrance into the Hudson's Bay store. And here's Bay Street. And just to the north, it's Old City Hall. So as I was mentioning earlier, normally at this time of day, Bay Street would be rammed with people, with commuters, all marching down south towards Union Station. Hordes of them. And I think I do have some older videos from the before times where I captured that. Might have to go back to some of my 2019 videos. The Graphic Arts building, another beautiful old building. And this one recently got a renovation. And I say they did a good job. And there's the view looking straight down Shepherd Street, with First Canadian Place terminating that view. Got Quinn's Pub here, or steakhouse, I guess, not really a pub. And we're walking on the sort of the rear side of the Sheraton Centre Hotel and Conference Centre here. This is another waste of sidewalk frontage. There's not much to see here. Matter of fact, compared to this, the Bay building is far superior with its ads and, and billboards and whatnot. I'm gonna try something else here with the bag. I pushed it further up my arm, so now it's hanging off my elbow instead of my wrist. So maybe it won't bounce off my legs as much as I walk now. And this is York Street. And I think that worked. All right, good. Although it's still getting blown around by the wind. And now it's bouncing off my hips instead of my legs. Oh well, it's not as bad as it was before. There's the Hilton. Across this first part of University Avenue. This is a two-stage intersection here. There's a look north up University. And before we saw the Confederation Life Building, well, there's the Canada Life Building now. Another historic building. This one is much larger, much more impressive. It's a true early skyscraper, at least by Toronto standards. That's the Shangri-La Hotel there. This older mid-rise office building is site of a redevelopment plan for a 54-story residential tower to be built on top of the existing building. And it looks like the existing building will be retained in its entirety. Maybe I'll cross to the south side of the street. So we're at Simcoe Street. I don't know why I'm standing here like a dingus in this cold. Oh, well, the light's turning green anyway. All right. If I come to another dead intersection like that, I'm just going to keep on walking. There's the home of Yuck Yucks. It's a famous stand-up comedy club in Toronto. It spawned many well-known comedians. Toronto is a bit of a hotbed for stand-up comedy. Here's Duncan Street, so I'm just going to walk right through. Don't follow my example, kids. But it's cold out here. There's a thicket of condos that keeps sprouting new ones every year. I remember when there was only a couple of them, and then there was 3, then 4, then 5. Now I think we're heading towards a dozen of them in the next few years that will be clustered in that small area. And here's another quiet intersection. This is John Street. Now we're walking past the Scotiabank Cinemas complex. This is also the site of a future redevelopment. I'm just going to come right out and say it is bitterly cold out here with this wind. I think the wind chill is somewhere in the upper teens, minus 16 or minus 17. That's a local establishment that is closed now to indoor patronage due to the current restrictions. And here's Peter Street. Pretty spectacular lobby inside of this building. And here's the spacing store. This is a store where you can find merchandise all centered on Toronto, whether it be books, t-shirts, mugs, souvenir type things, and even winter gear. And they are open right now. I always thought this was a neat little corner here. And here's Spadina Avenue. So westward we continue. And it is cold. Did I already mention that? I think I already mentioned that, didn't I? This is a strange place to have a bunch of backed up traffic. And I'm not sure what we're all waiting for here. It's red here. It's red here. I could have went. Oh well. There's a new condo. That's one of the buildings that replaced some older buildings, which used to make up one of the walls of Graffiti Alley in its rear. And when they tore that down, there was a sudden large gap in Graffiti Alley. But then new graffiti went up on the temporary construction hoarding that ringed around the site. But once that hoarding comes down, which I think it's about to in the near future, there'll be a brand new wall facing into the alley. And I'm sure it won't take long for that to become a brand new section of Graffiti Alley. And here we are at Portland Street. There's a neat little section of historic row houses here. I don't see any redevelopment proposals posted here, so maybe that row will exist on into the future, although with the way this street is going, I have a feeling it's just a matter of time. And just up ahead is Bathurst Street. So this is going to wrap up this walk. It's a very bitterly cold and windy walk. Starting from Richmond Street East at George Street, in front of the George Street Diner. And then heading on through the Financial District and the Entertainment District. And ending here on the western boundary of downtown at Bathurst Street. So leave a comment below if you enjoyed the walk. And be sure to like and share and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal and via my merch store. And you can also find me on Instagram under KContinuum. So thanks for watching. And be sure to keep checking back because, as always, I will continue. Oh, she dropped something. I guess I could have yelled.